Kaf Chof Dalet Amud Beis will begin Chof Dalet Amud Aleph, 5 lines from the bottom. Karpav Yaiser Mi Beis Asayim Shehukaf Ladir. If there's a karpav more than Beis Asayim, but it was Hukaf Ladir, so it was used for residential purposes, therefore carrying within the karpav is muter. V'nismalam mayim, but then it got flooded, it got filled with water. So does that negate the residential use of it? So the Rabbanan thought to say it's like if it was planted and it became a gina, which would be aser. Here also, it's no longer useful for residential uses, and therefore it should become like a gina and should be aser. Amalu Ravava. He said, Ravava said, Achva derav breder mishashe hachi amrin mishmei derava. This is what was said in the name of Rava. Mayim kinetoim dame vishori. That mayim is like planting trees, and we say even though it's a planted area, but it's trees, therefore people can still use it. They use it as a park or something of that nature, and it still retains its residential identity, and therefore it's muter. Here also, even though it has the water over there, people still can use the area. He says that's only where the water, you can drink the water. Therefore, we still consider it to be a residential area. But if it cannot, the water cannot drink the water, then it's not considered to be anymore a residential area. Ravashi says, or the Chazon Tashlish and Nami, he said, even if it is still usable and drinkable, the water, that's only if that at the deep part, meaning the part where it has a depth of 10 tefachim or more, it's not an area of Beis Asayim. So the deep part of it is meaning more than 10 tefachim deep is not an area of Beis Asayim or more. But also, but if in the deep area that it covers an area of more than Beis Asayim, he said, then it's also. But the Gemara says, no, v'lav milsehi, it's not so, mida dehave akare de per. Just like if there's a mound of Paris, or Rash says an alternative pshat, if there's a pit filled with Paris, it doesn't matter, even if it has a huge area and it's high or it's deep, but people can eat the Paris, it's still considered an area that's a residential area. Here also, if the water is drinkable, you can drink the water. It doesn't matter if it has a huge area that has that depth. It's still considered to be a residential area, and it's mutter to be metaltal. There was a back lot, backyard, that was in Pum Nahara. And typically, we say minastam, our chava is not open to the residents. It's not used by the residents. It's not considered a residential area, typically. So there was this rachava that was in Pum Nahara, in that place. The chad gisa b'sich lamasa. At one end, it was opened into a movi that of the city. V'chad gisa b'sich l'shilshel kromim. And at the other end of it, it was open to a path that ran through a vineyard. And the Shilshel Kromim emptied out, it ended with on the bank of a river. So if you have the following scenario, so if you consider this the back lot, and let's say there's houses over here, this is the back lot. On one end, there's a path. On one end, there's a path that opens to, there's a vineyard. There's rows of vines over here. On one end, there's the vineyard. The vineyard opens to a river. Over here, there's a river. So the river, this is considered to be a mechitza. So this has a mechitza, as the bank of the river, and the path similarly has its mechitzas on the side, and it has the mechitza, the bank of the river. Now, so if you look at this whole thing as one area, if you view this as one complex, there's a tzuras of path, there's a Rishus Rabbim over here, but there's a tzuras of Pasachs, it's enclosed, and there's the walls, on the Rechava has its walls, and this has the bank of the river here, and it's enclosed here. So all of this area, if we view the entire area as one enclosure, it should be mutter. The issue over here is that it's really enclosed, and it should be considered as one enclosed area, but the issue over here is that Rechav is more than a base sign, and it's loy hukaf ladira. It's loy hukaf ladira, and therefore you can't carry in this area. And this mavoi is open to it, and the shvil shalkramim is open to it, so they're both open to an area which you can't carry, and therefore you can't carry in these areas either. So how can you misaken? Now, the obvious answer is that if you take down the walls of the Rechava and rebuild them and now make it hukaf ladira, now it can only be mutter if there are residents here, if it's being used for a residential purpose. If it's being used for, now once it's changed, so if it remains that it's not a residential area, you can't carry over here, because they open up into a Yesri based shaloi hukaf ladira. If this becomes a residential area, if it has a residential purpose, it's still aser unless it was hukaf ladira. So there, the easy answer is to tear down the walls, build them up, and now it's hukaf ladira. Halachically, that's the simplest, but it's very difficult practically to tear down the walls. So now, if this Rechava does not become a residential area, it's awesome. But if it does, even if it does become a residential area, it still has to be hukaf ladira. What is an eitzah to make it hukaf ladira short of demolishing the walls and rebuilding them? Amar Abaye hechinave. So Abaye said, what's the eitzah over here? Well, simply just to build a wall on the bank of the river over here, and now making this considered a wall for the Rechava as well, and then make it hukaf ladira. That doesn't help, because just to add on to a mechitza doesn't make it hukaf ladira. Similarly, if we just add to the walls over here and just add to the walls of the Rechava, that would not make it hukaf ladira, because the walls exist. You're just extending them, adding to them, increasing the height. That doesn't make it. It has to be making the mechitza, creating the mechitza to be hukaf ladira for residential purpose. This mechitza exists already. You're just adding on to it, so that wouldn't help. To make it Suras of Pesach over here, which therefore now, in effect, makes a mechitza for the Rechava over here. To do that, that's not an eitzah, because also gamle, it's a narrow path. The camels will come and tear it down, so and therefore you'll be remaining without a mechitza. That's not an eitzah either. What he said is you should make a lechi on the opening of the shil kromim. Make a lechi over here. And a lechi, it does not take up that much space, and the camels won't tear it down. And this is considered to be now making this area hukaf ladira. You're making the mechitza for this area. Amalei Abaya, no, that shouldn't help, because Yomi lechi moil shil krom dalma. People say that a lechi will help for a path that goes to the kromim, so we can't allow that, because people will say that a lechi helps even for a path or a mavoi that's open on two ends. They won't realize that, it's only because there's the bank of the river here and it closes it off. It's closed on three ends, and the lechi is to only be matcha this one open end. They'll think that it's a mavoi that's mefulish and a mavoi that's open on both ends. That's mefulish is nitzer with the lechi. So what is the eitzah according to Rava? Elamar Rava. Rather, Rava says, what is the eitzah? We make rather a lechi for the entrance to the mavoi of the city. Since the lechi helps for this mavoi, because as we said, the mavoi is enclosed It's enclosed on three sides. There's a Tzuras Pesach here, and there's the doorway here, Tzuras Pesach, there's walls here. Now, if you put a lechi over here, this now becomes a lechi, which is a salsum, and it's Einam foolish, and has a lechi. Since this is a tikkun for here, it becomes now a tikkun for the Rechova, and you can carry here as well. You can carry here, and you can carry here. This path has a problem, because a lechi can't help for it. As we said, we don't allow a lechi to be matcha this. So you don't have the migoy over here, because we don't allow a lechi to be matcha this one over here, this path here, because people think that a move mufulish is nitu with a lechi. But it helps for here, and it helps for here. So hilka tiltula b'masa gufashari, carrying on this area, this move, the move of the city's mutter. Tiltula b'rechava gufasharet, being metaltal here on the back lawn is also mutter. Now the shaila is, however, mimasa l'rechava u'merechava l'masa. What about carrying from here to here, or from here to here? So pligi b'ravach v'ravina chad asa v'chad shari. One says it's mutter, one says it's also man the shari dalaka the urim. Now what's the issue over here? Why should we also to carry from here to here, or here to here, if they're both areas that are mutter to carry? The issue is because if you have, for instance, like two chatzeros, each chatzer is mutter to carry within the chatzer, but you need an erev chatzeros to carry from one to the other. So do you need an erev chatzeros to carry from here to here and here to here? So the one that says it's mutter, he says, no, because there aren't really permanent residents in the Rechava. It's, even though it was changed, now it's used for a residential purpose, but the people aren't living here. So therefore, it doesn't come under the takana of Eruv Chatzeres. When you have residents living in two areas, you need an Eruv Chatzeres to carry from one to the other. So therefore, there's no need for the Eruv Chatzeres. But Uman Da'aser Simnan Dahavi Badiurin, Va'asa Lataltuli. But the one who also says, no, but people might come to live over here. And if they say, well, till now we were able to carry from here to here, back and forth, they might continue to do so, even if there are people living in here. And there you do need Erev Chatzeres, because you have people living here and people living here, and you need Erev Chatzeres. So that's why he holds it's also.